Hello and welcome to the second video focusing on the AQA GCSE English Literature exam and looking at The Woman in Black, which is in Unit 1, Exploring Modern Texts. At the end of the previous video, we started to explore the themes in the novel. The first two sets of themes we were looking at were those Gothic themes of mystery and secrecy and isolation. The theme of isolation fits in very much with the theme of loss in the novel. It is loss, or the loss of a child, that is the spring from which all of the evil events happen. It's Janet Humphrey's loss of her son, when he's taken away from her originally because of his illegitimacy and the fact that she is isolated from him, that causes her first of all to feel resentment, and then to feel anger, and then to feel pure hatred after he's truly lost when he dies in the marsh. This sets off the whole chain of events in Crichton Gifford, where innocent people lose their own children. And finally, it's the loss of Arthur, the loss of his child, and the loss of his wife, because of Janet Humphrey's loss in the first place, that shows how such an emotion can turn from regret, resentment, can turn to hatred, which can then even be acted out from beyond the grave. Janet Humphrey's loss also features very much in the idea of injustice. The original injustice of Janet Humphrey losing her son, not being able to see him grow up, not being able at first to nurture him, building a relationship with him and then having that completely destroyed through his accidental death, which she then takes out those feelings of regret as hatred upon her sister and all those to do with the fact that he was taken away from her, which then even eats into herself and destroys her. That injustice that turns to hatred and is again, like the loss of her son, so closely linked to all of the subsequent events in The Woman in Black. And of course, her feeling of injustice, which turns to hatred and then evil, is then visited upon people who are innocent themselves, like Mr. Jerome, like Mr. Daly, and finally Kipps himself and his baby and wife Stella, who suffer for no reason of their own other than Janet Humphrey's wish to gain revenge. And of course, here we are, the theme of anger and revenge, one of the key themes of the whole book. As explained before, the loss of her son, the isolation from her son, the fact she builds back the relationship only to have it destroyed, turns her feelings of loss and injustice inward into not just hatred against those around her, initially her sister, but also herself. And she is eaten away with that anger and want to revenge on those who she sees to blame for her situation and the death of her son. Her illness can be seen to be symbolic of this need for revenge, this need to destroy others, to get some sort of power herself. Janet Humphrey is so powerless. Her need for revenge acts almost like an acid eating away at her and destroying her soul, so that the only thing that's left behind is an evil black core which wishes to visit the same hatred and anger upon those around her. And as Hill quite rightly shows, this evil and anger can then contaminate those around you. And this of course fits into the idea of a curse, which of course this Gothic element fits perfectly into this book, that shows that even from beyond the grave, such negative emotions, such wish for revenge, can actually still be visited on those who are still alive and contaminate them and make them suffer the same injustices as the original person, in this case Janet Humphrey. And this brings us to the final key theme of the book, that of evil. Susan Hill, who is a Christian, believes very much in the idea that evil is alive and a malignant force in the world, and that certain events can make us vulnerable and open to such evil. And this is the case with the loss of Janet Humphrey's son. It's that which is the key to allowing evil into her heart, and evil destroys her, but it somehow enables that hatred to survive and be visited upon other innocent people after her death. And Susan Hill wants us to understand this because she has Kipps say quite clearly in the book, I realised that there were forces for good and those for evil doing battle together within him. So it's very important to realise that this is very much a moral book, pointing out that yes, an injustice was done to Janet Humphrey, but by turning her anger and want for revenge inward initially, she allows evil into her heart, which then is amplified outwards to destroy everything around her, and then to destroy her community, and even the life of a young innocent man such as Kipps, his innocent wife and his innocent child.